maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that was a mistake. Ouch. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Today, let's talk about the few offers that I got and why I made the irrational decision of turning away an unbelievable offer from Uber. I'm going to briefly compare the total compensations between these offers and also share my, at the time, limited vision into these companies. Before we begin, I'd like to point out that I will not share any interview details. Everything that I'm going to share will be based on my personal experience with these companies in early 2020. Obviously, my experience does not fully reflect the company's previous or current status or its interview process or any types of offer you may get. All of this happened 18 months ago. Now, let's get to it. The TLDR is, in early 2020, I interviewed with 5 companies and I got offers from 4 of them. Knowing that I was not a new grad at the time, I have been in this industry for close to 6 years by then. So the offers are from Uber, Google, Facebook, and also a unicorn startup. Let me share some rankings about these companies first. From the best to, first, the total compensation, the TC, Uber, Facebook, Google, Asana. Secondly, the company's online rating, Google, Facebook, Asana, Uber. What I just described are objective rankings based on online information and also basically what I got from the offers. And now I will share with you my personal preference, Facebook, Asana, Google, and Uber. Obviously, I picked Facebook over the rest, and I will tell you why about each decision. I will also dive into the details about the $2 million offer. It will be later in the video, so stick around to the end. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, Google. Google has the best reputations among all these tech companies for its engineering culture, for its fancy projects, for its work-life balance, and of course, for its total compensation. To be honest, this is one of my dream companies for years. No doubt, I have full respect. If I were to join Google, I'm pretty sure I would be satisfied. However, Google was not my personal favorite at the time. Here are some reasons. First, the interview process is really slow. I already had 3 offers and still just waiting for Google to respond. If you are part of this process and you interview with Google, you know my pain. I respect the process, but at the same time, deeply I know that in Google, there are a ton of talents, great engineers, and I just don't have a high profile to raise their eyebrows easily or fast. Secondly, among all the companies that I interviewed with this time, Google's processes, office setup, the way people talk and work, the values, it kind of remind me many aspects of, Amazon. I realized I'm just jumping from one big corporation to another. Being a tiny piece of a gigantic pie is lovely at some point, but I'm just not so crazy about it anymore. After years of being at a big corporation like Amazon, I just feel like I deserve or should give myself a chance to try something different, maybe a smaller company, if any opportunity presented. How different or similar are these companies anyways? The tech giants are different in many ways, but when it comes to big corporation, there's just so many logistics. They're seemingly, identical. The size of Google and Amazon make them quite similar in some ways. When a company grows big enough, it's just impossible to operate like it was 100 people startup. I cannot say that I declined Google for any particular reason. I think at the time I was just personally lack of excitement when I compare it with other offers. Next, Asana is a really cool project management tool and it's free. I've been a fan since 2014. I use it to manage my personal projects, track my interview process, and even share projects with others. It's worth mentioning that this company has good reputations among the startups. It was a unicorn startup before it went public. When I got the offer, I was told that the company is going public later in 2020, and I believed every bit of that. The truth is, the company did went public later of the year. When I interviewed with Asana, I felt that sparkle, the sparkle that made me think that this is a place I want to be a part of, and I want to be a part of it right away. The sparkle does not happen very often, especially after you've worked for a couple of years. It's like you opened sparkling water for 2 weeks. It's still sparkling, but not appealing. feeling that sparkle is kind of special. The vision for my role was also appealing. I was supposed to be a critical piece of the team working on hard infrastructure problems. Asana was the second choice among the offers. I had good feelings about the people and about the team, and I knew the product quite well, and so I almost picked it. But the struggle was having my dream company standing in between. Ultimately, I picked Facebook. Alright, now Facebook. I've been here since May 2020. Things are fast. Why do I like Facebook? I think you know the answer. I like social media. Otherwise, why am I here talking to a camera? Ever since college, I wanted to work at Facebook, but unfortunately, I never had my shot before Amazon, and I failed my first attempt in 2018. It's also a fair-sized company that's much smaller than Amazon and Google, and it has a ton of people of my age. I have to admit, there was some level of self-esteem played in this decision-making, that I wanted to prove that I can make it, that I caught my dream. It's supposed to be a very simple decision when it comes to joining Facebook, but at the same time, Uber threw at me a giant, unbelievable offer, and I hesitated. Now, let's talk about Uber. My interview at Uber really rocked, which turned into a monster offer. The amount of stock made it impossible to decline. I was given an offer of 4-year stock of $687.5K dollar amount, which does not include the base salary or the sign-on bonus or any types of bonus in the future. Man, that's a ton of TC even now. At my stage of life, the total compensation, the TC, can push people around quite a bit. So why it didn't happen? When it comes to company reputation, that was a bit concerning. I talked to a remote friend who was at Uber and got fired in later 2019, just a few months after his joining. It was the massive layoff at Uber in 2019. It's on the news. So lots of engineers got laid off, right? And some of them were given the opportunity to switch to a different org, a different team, but lots of them had just left. There are rumors about why the massive layoff at Uber near the end of the fiscal year. I will skip my speculations. But again, I can only speak to what I researched at the time, and things may have changed dramatically since then. So don't let my reflection affect your decision making now. To me personally, the layoff news was still hot in the air, and I was just given a big offer from Uber. I just can't help imagining or thinking about where I would be near the 2020's fiscal year. On the positive side, I did have a fascinating interview experience with Uber, especially at the system design interview. It's like me and the interviewer really clicked, so that also sparkled. And then it's the tricky question between money and the dream, isn't it? When it comes to the final decision making, first, let me share with you some mess about the 4-year, $2 million offer. I'm just gonna read it. When I was given an offer, Uber stock peaked at about $40 per share near the end of February 2020. And you see where I'm getting, right? In March 2020, it's almost exact the same time when my recruiter shared the offer with me. The stock dropped to $20 per share. So 50% down. It did not recover in a day. It actually went on for quite some time. You probably see that as a bad signal, right? The stock went down. So what's the catch? I could have caught the bottom of the stock and double the number of shares that I got. How does that work? Let me share with you. So the $678.5K dollar amount will stay the same in my offer, right? But the number of shares will become almost 2 times more because the stock price dropped from 40 to 20. That's with the assumption that the stock will eventually go back up. And once it does go back up, with all the shares I got, will easily double over $1 million. As I expected, through the past 18 months, Uber stock went up over to $60 per share, and now humbly back down to $40, but still, that's 2 times more than the $20 per share. So brutally that the stock can easily flip over to over $1 million. I knew exactly where this was going. If I add the base salary and add the sign-on bonus, plus the future potential bonuses, the total compensation over the 4 years can easily exceed the $2 million mark. And of course, you have to pay about 50% of that to tax. Man, still, that's quite some money at my stage of life, earning just salaries. So I did what I always do. Just like earlier in the video, I compared different axes of each company: money, career paths, company culture, and also my personal preference. I knew that Uber would be successful, and I also liked the people that I met during my interview. But I also knew that risks of going into this jungle. Am I able to sit through the next 4 physical years? Am I going to get the $2 million in total? I don't know. On the other hand, I also loved Facebook and Asana and everything I saw over there as well. I shouldn't say I declined Uber because I value my passion or dream over money. The truth is, my fear took over the decision making. Ultimately, I did not go with Uber. That is my complete story of declining the 4-year, $2 million offer. It's true that this type of opportunity does not present itself all the time, but I also know that my career is a marathon than a sprint. I did not have many options when I joined Amazon. I was young and naive. I didn't even have the capacity to think about what I love to do. But now I do have a few limited options. Looking back at Uber's offer, it's like in any type of adventure movie, right? Like Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider. I was truly afraid of myself, being that person who values quick money over long-term satisfaction in doing what I love. And I was also afraid of being a failure. If I don't live up to the expectations and eventually got, sacrificed near some physical year, that would be sad. Through 2019, the worst year of my life. After all that happened, I just don't have enough of courage to gamble again. So here I am. Didn't go with Uber and love what I do at Facebook now. Questions: what do you think? Do you think I made a stupid mistake? Which company will you pick if opportunity presented? And honestly, how do you make that decision? Do you value product or company culture or money factor or some other factors more? Let me know down below in the comments. Alright, that's all I have for today. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye. Wow, this is great. This is so New York. What the hell? New York. Da 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 New York. What's going on, man?